Thinking of buying a plastic model kit? I'll show you some things. Hi, welcome back to St Blazey Model World. Well, if you're of a certain age, even if you're not of a certain age, I guess this is one of the things that attracted all of us to the world in miniature, using various models and model making techniques. And we've probably all built one of these. An Airfix kit, a 1/72nd scale model of the Supermarine Spitfire, and this one is a Mark 1A variation. I got into this hobby because my father was into model making, and I guess that might be the same for a lot of us. And if you're a younger viewer, I hope that you find some inspiration from a very worthwhile hobby with a vast arrangement and array of choices as to what you might model and scale and how much detail you might go into. And this video is being filmed on the 1st of November 2020, and we have just learned here in the UK that we are about to enter a second phase of national lockdown. So what are we going to do with ourselves? Well, I'll still be at work, unfortunately, but for those of you who have some time to kill, I hope that you might be encouraged to take up some aspect of this wonderful hobby of ours. And if you do feel encouraged to take up some aspect of this hobby, possibly this is going to be one of your starting points. It has been for a lot of us. So before you even buy, if you're going to purchase online, you pay your money and you take your choice. But if you do have the opportunity to go to a retailer to purchase such a model kit, there are a few things that you need to look out for before you hand over your money. Now, in the words of the late Sir Leslie Nielsen, there is nothing to see here. But of course there is. And when you go to a model shop to purchase a kit, one of the first things I look for is that the sellotape is intact on the back of the box, and this one you can see is not intact, it's been cut. But it gives you an idea as to whether or not the box has been opened, and if it has been opened, you might find 2/3 of the way into the build that some critical component or part is missing. So that's one thing to look for. Another thing that I would look for on a box is signs of damp. Now, okay, it's full of plastic parts and they go to make up the model, and you're buying ultimately the model and not the box. But signs of damp might mean two things. Firstly, the instructions inside the box might not be clear. Also, it means that because it probably hasn't been stored very well. But the main reason for searching for any signs of damp is that in this kit we hope to find a number of decals to put on our finished model, and those decals are water activated, and of course if the box is damp, it's possible that those decals have already been activated, and we might put a whole load of work into producing a very fine finished product, only to find that the decals are damaged, and that ruins really the whole purchase, the whole reason for going through the process. So please remember to examine a box for signs of damp. I'd appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel. Currently only 15% of my viewers actually do subscribe, and the number of subscriptions I have is still very, very low. Please do hit the button, hit the bell icon as well. You'll get an update and a notification every time I release a new video, and it really is appreciated because it does help me grow this channel and make it worthwhile. And lastly, of course, we'd look for signs of trauma or damage to the box, because if the box is damaged, there's a reasonable possibility that the components, the parts we need to build our model inside, have become damaged also. So there it is, damage to the box, water damage to the box, and a seal around the box to indicate that it has never been opened. I'm not saying don't buy a kit if you find it in these sort of conditions, but don't be afraid to examine the model before you hand over any money. One last point to consider is the condition of the box itself, apart from any damage. This particular one is quite vibrant, the colours are still very vivid, and it's been looked after. But it's possible that you might find a model that's been on display in a shop window and the box and the colouring on the box has become sun bleached. That won't necessarily matter if you're buying the model to build it and you would discard the box afterwards, but of course if you're buying it as an investment, and these things do go up in value, then you might want to consider buying one where the box has not been on display and the overall presentation of the box is much better. It will only add value if you are buying these things as any sort of investment. Okay, that's it for this video. Another short one, I know. Longer programs to come shortly. We are where we are, in the words of I must stop saying that. That's our great friend at Chadwick Model Railway. If you haven't watched him, please tune into his channel. It's one of his favourite sayings. Subliminal messaging. It's great, isn't it? Take care. Please stay safe. Bye for now. We'll see you again soon on St Blazey Model World.